Did you know that so far this season, Manchester United are averaging less than 1 goal per game in the Premier League? That is something that Ruben Amorim is going to have to fix when he comes into the club. But don't worry, he has a bit of a record for fixing teams' attacks. You see, the last season at Sporting Lisbon, before he was appointed, the side only scored 49 goals, but that soon changed under Amorim's leadership. They went on to score 65, 73, 71 and 96 goals in each of Amorim's complete seasons at the football club. Can he do something similar at Manchester United? Can he change the attack? He certainly can. The more important question is how. Today we're going to look at his patterns, his structures and his principles in the attacking setup. Before we have a look, quickly subscribe to the channel and let's get into the tactics. So the first thing that we are going to look at is the structure, the approach in terms of the literal shape that his side will use. Ruben Amorim tends to use a 3-4-3 formation. You guys are probably fed up of hearing about that shape, but he does use it. It is the 3-4-3. This is the way that he looks to attack the opposition. We know some of the positives of this shape, for example, are the ability to overload the middle of the pitch. In these areas, you can get this box shape going on, you can create overloads, you can access the wide areas fairly easily with these simple passes. But the Amorim system is a bit more complex than just that. It's of course not that simple. That is very, very basic. There are tweaks constantly in his shape, depending on how he wants his side to attack. For example, when his team has more settled possession and are playing on the ball a little bit slower, one of the central midfielders will move a little bit higher. The wingbacks will do the same, and now this resembles more of a 3-1-5-1 attacking formation. The question is, why would you look to do this? Well, it's fairly obvious if you ask me. Look how many players we have close together in these areas of the pitch, close to the striker. The striker is almost never isolated in an Amorim system when his side has the ball. There are always players in incredibly close proximity. Now, of course, this demands technical ability. You need to be able to take the ball in tight spaces, combine with each other, 1-2, two-touch football, moving the ball in these positions. But this is certainly one advantage. The compactness of the players, they're all close to each other, they can link, and that is when the best players in the world really start to thrive. But there is also another tactical advantage of this, which might take some understanding. Because Sporting, under Amorim, attacked with so many players centrally, it made them really threatening out wide. How does that make sense? Well, you see, these centralised players are initially going to start in a really high position, almost attaching themselves to the opposition defenders. What they are then going to do is move narrow and then a little bit deeper. What this does is it causes the opposition team to do something similar. They have to bring their defenders more central to deal with these overloads in the middle of the pitch. And this is, of course, when you then create this space out wide. This is the idea for Ruben Amorim's attacking side, to move the ball inside the pitch initially, try and be creative in these areas, try and combine, try and bring the striker into the game. But if you can't, let's now move the ball back out wide where there's a bit more space to attack. This is something that Amorim will look to use in terms of his structure, if you like, the approach to the game. But the patterns are what I am more interested in. So to try and identify some patterns in Ruben Amorim's attacking play, to really figure out what he wants from his forwards, I decided to go back and watch every single goal that Sporting Lisbon scored under his leadership. Took a little bit of time, but I saw some patterns in terms of the way that they were playing, and a few sort of moves that they rely on, regular patterns to break down the opposition. Now, the first thing we should make clear is there's a big positive of using attacking patterns, and that is that players almost get to a point where instinctively they know what to do. They know where their teammate is going to be, they almost don't even have to look. They're on the same wavelength, they're all working together, they keep executing the same patterns, the muscle memory comes into play, you create chances on a regular basis. That is something that Amorim looks to use with his attacking play. So the first attacking method I want to look at is the almost drag and run technique that his sides look to use. You see, Amorim wants his striker to be the main goal scorer. He wants a striker to get a lot of opportunities, but for that to happen, you have to do some work beforehand, because we know that for a striker it's incredibly difficult. This is a compact area of the pitch, you are in the centre, you are surrounded by centre-backs, also central midfielders, and even the goalkeeper at times as well. So what Amorim tries to do is get the players around the striker to make room for the striker. How does that work? Well, again, it is using that method we were talking about earlier. Initially pushing these players high up the pitch to attach to the opposition defenders. The idea from here afterwards is to try and draw these defenders out with a decoy movement, but we are actually looking for the third man run in behind that space into this sort of channel. Now, this is one of the benefits of all these players close to each other. They can combine. So, for example, you might see the ball is here with our right-sided central midfielder. The right winger is going to come towards the ball, drawing the left centre-back out, and then you can see a sideways pass across the middle and then through to the striker. It's these sort of minimal movements to drag these players out of position. And we can see a couple of examples of this. If we go here, this is the space that Sporting Lisbon are trying to attack. But you will notice it's quite compact, and if we look at Gyökeres in particular, he's got two centre-backs on him. Life is difficult. Currently, he has no room to score a goal. He's literally being marked by two players. So the task here for the attacking side is to make room for him. We need to pull one of those centre-backs away from Gyökeres. When he's 1v1, he'll be fine. 1v2 is a little bit difficult. We have to pull a player away. How do they look to do that? Well, initially the forwards push high, but then they are going to attach themselves a little bit deeper. You can see the body language of these two players. The top player is looking towards the ball, and you will notice the lower player has changed his movement. He is dropped the shoulder, and now he's moving towards the ball. And this gives a signal to the opposition. They're going towards the ball, so we need to squeeze out a little bit higher. And exactly that happens. The pass comes in, and the centre-back is going to be baited, if you like, by this movement. He gets drawn out by this movement towards the edge of his own penalty area. We can see it here. The ball eventually gets laid off. The centre-back distance has changed. We no longer have two centre-backs on Gyökeres. We now only have one, which means the ball can be slid through, in behind the defence, and Gyökeres' finishing has been absolutely phenomenal. I mean, the amount of goals he's scored has been ridiculous, but it's all because of the movement of the players around him creating those chances. We've got another example here of something a little bit different, but the idea is the same. Again, Sporting Lisbon want to attack these sorts of areas of space. They want to move into the penalty area, but the problem is, initially, the opposition, as always, have plenty of defenders in this area. There's not really a way to play the ball through there, so players need to be moved out of position. Cue the inside forwards and their positioning. You're going to see it here. This player on the edge of the penalty area moving away from the opposition goal. And what he's trying to do essentially is drag this defender outside of the penalty area. He's done that. Mission accomplished. Now we can see the space that he's created in behind the defence. Now he wants to dart into this area. He does exactly that. The ball goes across the penalty area, and there we see Gyökeres once again with a brilliant bit of striker play, puts the ball into the back of the net. And it is all because of his team's ability to drag players out of position and then run in behind. It's a really nice pattern. Now the next attacking pattern is all about wide play, which will be music to the ears of the Manchester United fans. At Old Trafford we want quick attacking football, but we want width. We want to see the wide areas occupied by good footballers ultimately. Amorim wants exactly the same thing. He wants width across the pitch. That is why he uses these wing backs. Now the idea we are looking for here is trying to get to the byline to then cut the ball back into the penalty area. Again, we are trying to create chances for our main man up front, for our striker. So how do they look to do that? Well, often this pattern can actually be incredibly simple. It's quite straightforward. It is a natural benefit of using this formation. The ball gets wide to the wing back. Let's say it's the left wing back on this occasion. Of course, this player needs to be put under pressure. Let's say he's a little bit higher. Who's going to put him under pressure? Naturally, it is going to be the right back. He is going to come out and draw into this area. Now, what we are going to see next is an important movement from the striker, attaching himself to this near side centre back. Why is he going to do that? Well, the reason he wants to attach himself to this near side centre back is so that the centre back can't go defend in these areas. So he's trapping him essentially. He's made his movement over to this side to attach himself to this player. What we can then see is the run in behind. We can see this massive space which is opened up between two defenders. This could be a winger or an inside forward going into these positions, but also look out for late midfield arrivals. Someone like Mason Mount could be brilliant in this role if he starts deeper and bombs forward. Kobbie Mainoo, even Ugarte has the legs to do this. And it's almost a shame we don't have McTominay, to be honest. Moving into these positions and looking to find that ball into the channel. And once you get there, it's all about the delivery into the penalty area. There will nearly always be 2 or 3 players to look out for, trying to create chances in the box. And we can see it here. High, wide wing back on the left-hand side has drawn the attention of the right back. Now, what does this do? Well, it creates a massive gap between the right back and then the next defender. On this occasion, it's actually a midfielder picking up in that area. But again, you can see the gap, and eventually the ball is going to come through the lines. It's a brilliant pass played in behind. It's absolutely brilliant. But you can see that third man runner going in behind the opposition defence. So the wing back has dragged the full back wide, and then this deeper player is going to attack this position. It's brilliant play. And the centre-back can't go over and help him out because Gyökeres has tied him up in the middle, which means eventually you get a little bit of time, you get towards the byline, and this is a brilliant position to be in. The opposition defenders are retreating towards their own goal. You chuck a ball into the box now, either low along the floor or chipped into the air or cut back towards the edge of the penalty area, and it's a nightmare for defenders to try and deal with. And you will notice, like I said, there's nearly always 2 or 3 players in these positions, interchanging their movements. One might go towards the goal, whilst one peels towards the penalty spot. One might go near post, whilst the other goes to the far post. The movements are important and will take time to understand, but it's good attacking play and it gets our striker an opportunity. We'd love to see that. And it carries on. There are so many examples of this. Again, left wing back high up the pitch. He has drawn the right back out. Just look at the gaps that we can create. Look at the gap created here between the right centre back and the right back. It is absolutely massive. It's a ridiculous gap, to be honest. It's really poor defensively. Some of the reason this gap is created is because the centre back can't get over there, because we can see a more centralised player tying himself to that centre back, which means the room is created for the third man run into this position, and then once you get to the byline, you look up, you put a cross in towards the penalty area, you've got options in the middle. It is brilliant attacking play, and this is very much a pattern that Ruben Amorim likes to use. Here on the other side of the pitch, on the right hand side, a wing back nice and high up the pitch, going to draw this player out. You can see the massive gap created in this area. It leaves space in behind to play this ball. Just like that, you put the ball back into the penalty area with a low ball across the box, and once again, look at all the options that you have in the middle trying to sniff out this opportunity. Again, it's a really nice attacking pattern. Execution is of course key, and it will take time for United, but when we can get there, this will look good. Now, considering I watched every single Sporting goal under Amorim, I could refer to a lot of different patterns that I saw. There is just one more that I want to focus on for today, and that is the obvious benefit of using this system, because I've spoken about this quite a lot in the past, the benefit of using some sort of 3-2-4-1 or a 3-2-5 or a 3-1-5-1, a 3-1-6, whatever you want to call it, whatever formation you want to talk about. There is an obvious benefit, and that is if you can pull this player wide, and let's say we use a different pattern to what we used last time. Let's say this time our winger comes into this space to draw a centre-back, and then our striker stays on the other side but still draws a centre-back, and then our other inside forward moves into this position and draws the attention of the fullback. This is man-to-man across the back line. What is the benefit of using this formation? You're going to get space at the far post. If the wing-backs are willing to be aggressive, really fly forward, you think Reece James at Chelsea, for example, or Jeremy Frimpong at Bayer Leverkusen, fly forward into these positions, they can genuinely be a goal threat. They can really be a massive option and create a massive opportunity in a penalty area. The overload is there. This is a key theme and something that I think the side will look to do. You can see it here. The front four initially, so you've got the wing-back, then you've got the inside forward, the striker, and the other inside forward. These are the only 4 that we're interested in for this moment, because these are the 4 that the opposition want to lock on with. You can see it here, 4v4 with these players, but you will have noticed him already. Look how much space is at the back post. There is so much space, plenty of players once again in the penalty area. The ball comes into the box, and ultimately you have all the time in the world to put the ball into the back of the net. Now that sometimes seems challenging for the Manchester United players. We will need to be more clinical. But these patterns will create opportunities. Again here, we're looking at this 4 initially, matching up with the opposition, drawing them across to the pitch, and then, of course, the free man on the other side. Now, the good thing here for Manchester United and the players that we've got is these are things that we have seen under Erik ten Hag. We have seen these attacking patterns. Not necessarily always quite as effective as this, or quite as fluent as this, and not as regular as this. But we have seen these patterns before, and the reason that's a good thing for the players is because it's less of a thing for them to adapt to. They will know how to attack in this way. Ruben Amorim will make tweaks, but this will be fairly easy for the players to understand. This particular pattern should be quite effective quite quickly. Now, of course, as I've said a few times already, for any of this to work, the players have to individually perform. The tactical side of the game will take time. Understanding patterns will take time on the training pitch. We will have to work on it day in, day out. Eventually the patterns will be there. The patterns do look pretty good to me. I think they are effective for breaking down the opposition. But player execution will be key. Recently, we have struggled with that. The final touch, the final pass, the final finish. Hopefully Manchester United can improve there. If we can, combine that with Ruben Amorim's impressive attacking tactics, I think Manchester United can score more goals, provide more entertainment for the fans, and ultimately just make us all just that little bit happier, which I think is what we want when we watch football. Those are just my thoughts though, just my opinions. I want to hear yours in the comments down below. Have you seen certain patterns when watching Sporting that you think can be replicated at Manchester United? Which players are you backing to score a hatful of goals under the new management? Let me know what you think in the comments, but apart from that, we are finished for today. So thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you have enjoyed it, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.